Well, howdy do, buckaroos. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, hanging out in my front yard today. Mostly because it's less buggy out here. I just sprayed for bugs of both, but skeeters ate me alive last weekend. So, oh yeah. So what I'm having here, which I've already done a video for, but what I'm drinking is Jefferson's Chef Collaboration. It is a blend of two straight whiskeys. It is a blend of bourbon and rye. So I've got that big smoky boldness of the bourbon with that spiciness of the rye, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm doing it on the rocks because it's a rather warm day. Not necessarily doing a video for the bourbon, or the whiskey. It's not a bourbon, it's a whiskey. Thought I'd do a video. Why not, right? Sometimes I do topics because I envision my segments not as beer reviews or whiskey reviews, but as more pub talk. I call it Drinking with the Beer Whisperer, not Beer Whisperer beer or whiskey reviews. Drinking with me. So sometimes in a pub you talk about stuff. And if anybody has ever been in a pub for a period of time, or a bar, you know that's where all the world's problems are solved. Unfortunately, we can't remember anything by morning. So today I want to talk about two of the worst things to ever talk about in a pub, in social media, anywhere, is religion and politics. And the problem with either is both are incredibly divisive and polarizing. And it's even gotten more so. I mean, it seemed like, you know, a couple decades ago you could have a rational conversation with somebody, but now it seems like you've got such extremes on both sides that it's really tough to find a centrist way to look at it. And that's the problem with social media. When I first joined various social media, without mentioning names, several years ago, yeah, I did post a lot of political views, and I've gotten away from that, and I've tried to get more about beer. I do post some, but I try to limit it because, again, because of the divisive nature of it all. And here's the problem: is most of the people that do post political posts, the standard, stuff that you see everybody keep reposting, are the extremists on either side. You've got the extreme right and the extreme left, because most people in the middle, they don't post a lot. They're reading all this, and from their point of view, all they're seeing is nuts on both sides. You get the crazy here, and you got crazy here, thinking, man, everybody's just damn nuts. Which is one of the reasons I quit reposting a lot of stuff, for that reason, because a lot of it, on either side, my politics tend to run to the left a bit, but even there's a lot of stuff to the left and to the right that are just crazy. They're nonsensical, and they only make sense to a select group of folks. Donald Trump, for instance. Let's alienate half my audience right now. Donald Trump, for instance, yeah, the guy's nuts. I mean, he's certifiable, but he's rich, so he can be certifiable. I mean, he's crazy, but he's speaking to a disenfranchised group of folks, mostly white folks, some rich, some extremely poor, but all of them feel that for whatever reason, somebody else is responsible for their situation. And Donald Trump is right there giving you that hate group. He's telling you, this is your problem. You need to fear these people, then you need to hate them, because they're the ones that are stealing your jobs. If it wasn't for them, everything would be hunky-dory. Of course, it's ridiculous, and anybody with half a brain can figure that out, but he's speaking to these people because they don't want anything to be their fault. They don't want to take responsibility for their own situation, so they're jumping on that Donald Trump wagon. Oh yeah, Donald Trump says it's not my fault. He must be right. Yeah, it's very Hitler-esque. I'm not comparing Trump to Hitler. I'm saying the rhetoric is that if you, I'm into history. I'm one that likes to study history. So, but if you look at that period of time in German history, it's a lot of the same. Donald Trump has replaced the group he's talking about. But it's a lot of that same angry rhetoric. So let's just hope that crazy nutbag doesn't rise to power, or we're all fucked. Anyway, so let's talk about religion now. Let's see, I've alienated half the people on politics. Let's do it on religion too. Wear this cross. I am a Christian. I am. But I do believe differently than a lot of the fundamentalists. I don't believe in what they believe at all. Not even close, man. Not even in the same ballpark. Not even in the same zip code. Not in the same area code. I think the problem with religion is, again, like politics, by its very nature, it's divisive. I think spirituality can bring folks together. Whatever being or divine, whatever you believe in, whether it's Buddhism, Hinduism, or Christianity, that alone can bring folks together. But it's when you add that organized religion into the fold where the whole thing just goes awry. Because by its very nature, religion is divisive. You keep having one group telling you why the other group doesn't make sense. They're wrong, and you keep going in a circle, and you find out everybody's wrong. Now, I'm not claiming to be an extremely intelligent or intellectual guy, but I have access to internet. I studied stuff on my own before the internet, but this allows me to find resources that maybe I couldn't before, or I'd have to go to the library before to find. So if you do that, if you get on there, and of course there is some stuff that isn't factual. I'm not saying everything on the internet is true, that's not what I'm saying, but you can find truth if you look. If you look at the history of the Bible, it just stands to reason that no, it's not a nonfiction book. It is very clever fables. It is mythology. Now, I'm a Christian saying that. I'm not saying it's all, should be discounted, because there is truth in fables. There is knowledge in fables. But we shouldn't be looking at that book like, we shouldn't be looking at it like, it is the be-all, end-all. The problem is that it's been written in so many languages, it's been translated so many different times, that you can take anything and make it mean anything you want to. It's been used to justify slavery. It's been used to justify racism. And now it's used to justify homophobia. The problem is it allows, again, it's that same concept as politics. It allows you not to take responsibility for your actions. Nobody wants to be a horrible bigot, so you say, well, God doesn't like these people, so I'm not a horrible bigot. Well, the truth is, you don't know what God wants, even if that Bible passage is true, which you don't actually know it is. You just choose to believe it. You are a horrible bigot. You can pick anything out to justify your behavior is the problem, unless you're looking at everything, and if you're going by everything, but nobody does. For me, it's as simple as John 15:12. And depending on what Bible you're reading, the interpretation may be slightly different, but it is basically love one another. As I have loved you, you must love one another. For me, that passage supersedes everything else. That alone says, well, it's not up to me. On my job, he told me to love everybody. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to hate any one group of people for any reason. I'm not going to discriminate them, because if there is a judgment, it's up to God. It's not up to us. So when we make the decision to discriminate against the people, we are throwing away that passage from Jesus. We're throwing it away. So people ask, well, what if you're wrong? Well, if I'm wrong, and I have to explain that to God someday, I'm going to explain that, I chose love. I chose love. I looked at your passage, and that's what I chose. But if the folks that believe differently are wrong, they have to go to God and say, I chose hate. And if I'm wrong, I'd rather be wrong on the side of love than on the side of hate. And there you go. So we've discussed religion and politics on Drinking with the Beer Whisperer. Let's see if I've offended everybody now. That's the problem, isn't it? You can't offend any damn person anymore. You know, I mean, it used to be you could have an argument and be friends with somebody later, and you just can't do that anymore. Somebody gets offended, the next thing you know, you're unfriended on Facebook. You're, you're getting thumbs down on your videos. People just want to be pissed off these days. I try to be tolerant of most things, and I do pretty well for the most part. I am not tolerant of racism or homophobia, to be honest with you. If you're going to do, if you're going to totally discount and discriminate against groups of people, I'm not going to have anything to do with you. That's kind of where I draw the line. But, if you're going to be a decent human being, no matter what side of the religious or political spectrum you're on, I don't have a problem with you, as long as you're respectful to everybody. And again, that's kind of the problem, is that we've come to a point in our society that we're not respectful to people that disagree with us. If someone disagrees with us, they're wrong, we're not going to be respectful to them. And that's wrong. You should be respectful to everybody. Again, I refer you to John 15:12. That is my argument of the day. So, hey, I ran this a whole lot longer than I planned. I don't know what else to say without offending more people. So I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, having some whiskey tonight. This is a very old square Jack Daniels glass my wife found at a DAV, I believe, a while back. I find the better portion of my glassware comes from thrift stores, and I'm okay with it, because I am a poor, cheap-type bastard. I'll tell you that right now. This whiskey is phenomenal. Yeah, it's not necessarily cheap, and it's not one that most that love this kind of whiskey would put on a rock. So forgive me, but I'm doing so because it is a warm day, and I do enjoy it cold on a warm day. And I'll tell you, since I have had it neat, I am losing certain things, certain flavors, certain aromas, having it cold. But it also highlights certain. It's not adding anything new per se, but it is amplifying certain other flavors while it's cold. So though I may be losing some, I'm kind of gaining in some other grounds. It does feel a little smokier. It feels less sweet cold with a little bit of malt off there, but it does feel a little bolder, a little smokier, even a little spicier. Slightly cold. Got a lot of people circling my neighborhood for some reason. What the hell is going on here? So anyways, I'm Tom the Beer Whisperer. I'll talk to you later.